Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anca and I do art and illustration related videos, so if you're into that, make sure you subscribe and check out the other videos on my channel. So in today's video, I wanted to test out the Art Philosophy gouache set of 18 color tubes. I got this set from Crafty Leader. I've been needing a new gouache set and I thought this looked pretty interesting. I'm a huge fan of their watercolors. If you know, Art Philosophy has themed watercolor palette and I have two of them, the Vintage Pastels one and the Woodlands one, and I thought this gouache set looked pretty interesting. So I got it from Crafty Leader. The total cost of the palette was 16 euros, which I think is a very good price. It's now on sale on Crafty Leader. If you want to check it out, I will leave a link to it in the description box. But I wanted to test it out doing some paintings and see how I like the colors, how the saturation is, how opaque they are, and just see how they work with the style of illustration I am used to. So I will be rating them on how opaque they are, on the intensity of colors, which is the saturation. They also have information about lightfastness, which I will get into, the packaging, the pricing, and everything. So I started off by swatching each of the colors. The packaging comes in this cardboard box. It's pretty small for what it is, since there are 18 colors. The box is quite small. It's 18 with 20 centimeters, so they do market it as travel size friendly. I still think it's a little bit too big to travel with it. The colors come in tubes of 12 milliliters. They are plastic tubes, which I appreciate. I don't really like metallic tubes or aluminum tubes because they tend to break on me and the color bleeds out. Initial swatching, I thought that the colors were a bit on the watery side, so I like my gouache to be a bit more thick usually. That way I can water it down if I need to, or when I layer it, it tends to be more opaque. So that's a bit of a downside for me. Each tube comes with lightfastness information, so most of the colors except for one have a lightfastness of 3, and the orange-red color has a lightfastness of 2. Now lightfastness is rated on the blue wool scale from 1 to 8. 1 is poor and 8 is excellent. So these are not very light fast, but I did not buy them to create paintings which I will sell or anything like that. I bought them mostly for sketchbook use and sketching. I made a couple of tests mixing some colors to see what colors I can come up with and layering and such, and then I went into using them in real paintings. So I made 2 landscapes with them. These are the mini originals for my patrons. You can check out my Patreon if you want to know what that means and everything. I will leave a link to it in the description box. So overall, I will start with saturation. So on a scale of 1 to 5, the saturation is about 3. They are not as saturated as, let's say, the Arteza ones that I had, which are pretty similar to this. But Arteza has more brighter colors and more rich in pigment, I think. Opaqueness on a scale of 1 to 5 is a 4. They are not perfectly opaque, but they are pretty good with layering and stuff like that, and they do cover up pretty nicely in 2 layers. Blendability, they are very easy to blend. As I said, they are a bit on the watery side, and that makes the blending much more easier. However, for me that is a bit of a disadvantage. As I said, I like my gouache to be a bit more thick in consistency. Layering as well on a scale of 1 to 5 is a 4. They layer quite well, although with gouache you do have to be careful so that the layers in between are very dry. Otherwise the colors get really muddy and mixed up, since gouache is reactivated by water. The color palette, I would give it a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. I really like the color selection. It has all my favorite colors in there: the yellow ochre, the viridian, and all the jewel tones that I like to use in my illustrations. And that is one of the reasons why I bought it. So price wise, on a scale of 1 to 5 is definitely a 5. It's a very good price. 16 euros is very cheap. It's not even €1 per color, and 12 milliliters is enough to last you quite a long time per color. So I would say they are pretty similar to Arteza or Pebeo gouache. If you know, they are definitely not professional gouache. So if you're looking for something that has high light fastness and will stand the test of time, this is not the palette for you. However, if you are looking for something really cheap and with a lot of color variation and something that is sort of travel friendly size wise, then I would definitely recommend this. I will use it mostly for sketchbook work and illustrations that I use that I scan afterwards, so definitely not for illustrations that I will be selling. So I was looking for this type of gouache set in particular. My Arteza set started to run out, some colors went dry, and I wanted to replace it with something new. This is the perfect thing, I think, for the type of illustration I am currently making. So for me, it's a very good set. Lightfastness is not something I look for, in particular in my art supplies. I prefer to look at saturation and the way the colors work together, and the saturation and the opaqueness and the color palette. So the color palette is one of the main selling points for me, and also the size of the palette. So I hope you enjoyed this small review and first impressions. Let me know in the comment section if you've tried this gouache set and what are your thoughts on it. And I was thinking for next week I would do a video where I rate all my art supplies from 1 to 5 and talk a bit about the pricing, the colors, and which one I recommend and which one I don't, considering that I've used them for quite a long time now. So let me know in the comment section if you would like to see that. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!